Right, for the mixing part, what I tend to do is I usually go right into the main drop to start with. And then what I'll do is I generally start with the kick. Right, so here's the kick. So already we got on there transient shaper, which isn't really doing much. There's an EQ on there, just boosting the highs there, sorry, 2K, and boosting the lows at 75. Cutting off the sub, which don't need anything below that. And then there's a compressor. Like I said before, match the input with the output so you can see what the compressor is actually doing. So as you can hear, it's made it more snappy. Right, and if you're still not happy with the transient, the beginning hit of the kick, the attack, then what we can do is duplicate the track across, grab the channel EQ, just bypass the low end. It's a bit bright now, so just bring that back. So I'm happy with that. So you can hear how snappy that is now. So then you put it with the kick. A little bit more. That's it. And now you've got control over how snappy the kick is. So now you have control over how much you want it to punch through the mix. After I'm happy with the kick, I will move on to the bass, and then what we'll do is we'll add in the gain tool. This is to make it mono. You always want bass in mono. You don't want any bass in the stereo field. It just doesn't work. So it's to do with clubs. Some clubs are mono rather than stereo, so you can completely lose all the sub and the impact from it. Again, we can actually do that with the kick. Just add the gain tool in, just to make that entirely mono. And then after that's on there, we will add channel EQ, and then we'll add a compressor. So what I do first is, so this is basically my side chain. Really want a bit more heavy. So as you can hear, it's bouncing around. And then what I'll do is I'll just cut off the sub. And then cut out around about 200. Just a narrow, because around about 200 is sort of the hollowy part, the muddy part, so I'll get rid of that. We'll just go through the frequencies just to make sure there's no horrible whistles. We're listening for a whistle, so we don't want that. We can cut that out. So again, looking for anything we don't like the sound of. We cut that out there. Also put a high shelf on there, and then we'll move on to compressor. There's a preset here, adds a bit of distortion, subtly, just a bit of clip distortion, and then just tames it all. With bass, you tend to want to tame, because it's quite dynamic, you tend to want to tame it so it doesn't sort of move in the mix. So you will want it sort of like without any dynamic range. So that's what it sounds like. So put it with the kick. Snap. Right, once they're playing together, might add a little bit of bass to the kick. And to see if that's working correctly and there's no conflicting frequencies, what I do is I put a high cut on the master fader and drag it in. And then basically what I do is I go to the back of the room to my sweet spot and find whether or not the bass is punching through as well as the kick. So I want to hear the thud of the kick as well as the bass without any conflicting frequencies. So as you can hear there, you can still hear the difference between the two. which is good. So I'm happy with that. I'm not finished mixing the kicks and the bass yet, but it's just basically the starting point, and then when I add more and more stuff in, I'll probably have to go back and do a few changes. At the moment the kick sounds a bit bright to me, but we'll probably hear it in the mix better, so we'll know that once we carry on.